Hi guys, Iron Cameraman here. It's funny how new spoilers dropped right after my last video came out. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to include them in the breakdown, but on the bright side, I had more time to study the details and spot hidden elements. So today's breakdown is going to be extra packed. Today is the last day of 2024, and many of us were hoping Boomclaws would treat us to the release of Season 25. However, it seems he hasn't finished it yet, so instead, he gave us some spoilers. By the way, it's an interesting coincidence. Season 25 is coming out in 2025. What a great way to kick off the new year for our fandom, with an epic release. I'm definitely excited about it. Out of all the spoilers, the one with GMan really stood out to me, just like it did for many of you. Just look at his face, like he got hit by a train. Let's make a deal. I'll make Toilet smile, and you hit the like button for my efforts. While you were liking the video, I already talked to him and got a great result. Check this out. Honestly, it was easier than I thought. I just showed him a picture of Astro Duchess and gave him her phone number. Surprisingly, it worked, and he smiled. Anyway, here we go. The first thing I want to discuss is the spoiler with the lab. We're seeing an extended version of what Steak showed earlier on his stream. Now we have a chance to read the full text that was hard to make out before. The quality isn't the best, but in my opinion, it says main power, which can mean main energy, power source, or primary system. This could imply that this place serves as the central hub for upgrades, repairs, and modifications for agents. Otherwise, why would the injured camera woman go there? Also, it's likely that not just agents but humans are being upgraded here too, since we can see a monitor in the background that appeared in a previous spoiler from Steak. An interesting detail. The monitor is glowing red, which might indicate a failed experiment. I suspect this spoiler takes place earlier than the events we've seen before, and the detective cameraman probably left the lab after the failure. Another important detail is in the right corner, where we see a cameraman who closely resembles the doctor from the earlier spoiler. All of this feels interconnected, most likely the leaders or key representatives of the races gathered for an experiment. The experiment failed, and then everyone split up. But you know what bothered me the most? That engineer cameraman who seems to be checking out my camera woman's buns. Well, looks like he'll be spending New Year's Eve in my basement. The next spoiler shows an Astro Interceptor watching our operator. This hints that the upcoming season will feature not only local and plot-driven stories, but also large-scale battles with Astro Toilets. This scene kind of reminded me of the beginning of episode 77, where Canada and its overwhelming despair were shown. I even had a thought. As Mr. Boom mentioned, the season will likely explore several storylines. In my opinion, one of the most important arcs to develop is the Secret Agent's storyline, along with the Chair and others. There's a chance that we'll see the Secret Agent helping the Alliance, especially since the very first short for this season focused on him. Mr. Boom subtly hints at which characters will get the most development in the upcoming 26th season. We might see the cameraman detective studying recordings from other agents to advance the investigation into the Secret Agent. And on those recordings, he could notice the Secret Agent assisting the Alliance, or at least trying to. The next spoiler is an image of a chair standing in the middle of a fire. Buildings and small forests are visible in the background. This scene is somewhat reminiscent of episode 76 when the Duchess arrived, and it also ties into the previous spoiler. If the chair appears on screen again, there will definitely be some interaction involving it. It's quite possible it will try to interfere with events, as it did in episode 76, or its role could be completely different. But the fact that we see this chair again, against a backdrop of clouds and fire, combined with all the previous hints, makes it clear that the Secret Agent won't remain on the sidelines. He'll be one of the key figures this season. Now let's move on to the last spoiler which Data Bio received. It shows a close-up of our favorite GMan's face. But there's something strange. In episode 73, Speaker Man pierced GMan's eye, and in episode 77, we saw he had a prosthetic eye. Yet in this shot, GMan's eye looks normal again. Maybe G-Toilet has super regeneration and somehow restored his eye. But seriously, this fragment is probably unfinished, and GMan temporarily looks like his old self. Or maybe this is a troll leak because his expression looks like he just saw TV Man's sword, remembered what it can do, and got a little scared. It's also possible that the Titan is already showing off its capabilities. Databayo herself mentioned in her breakdown that some of the leaks might be trolls, so this is entirely plausible. Regardless of whether this spoiler is real or fake, the important thing is that we have confirmation. GMan will be back in Season 25. Given his current state, we can expect to see a scene where he's upgraded. After all, in Episode 77, we already saw his upgraded version. An additional scene could take place between Episodes 75 and 77. By the way, we recreated a frame that illustrates how GMan's upgrade might have happened. We built the base from scratch since it's unclear where exactly he was upgraded. It could have been the Cameraman's base, and there's a chance it's the same place where the Cameraman Titan was upgraded. We added a large-scale extension, massive claws installing new body parts, and charging the core with new energy. Remember, in the extra scene of Season 24, GMan's core energy was completely depleted because he used it to escape the Titans. This means his upgrade was necessary and very important. Interestingly, in the same scene, we saw the DJ's upgrade happening right out in the open. This confirms that Skibidi builders and scientists can work even in field conditions. To add more atmosphere, we included Skibidi Sigma Boy and Skibidi SWAT as spectators of their leader's transformation. It turned out pretty cute, don't you think? But a simple upgrade is boring and lacks intrigue. Most likely, Mr. Boom will add an intriguing detail to this scene. For example, I added green and purple particle effects around the sphere. This not only decorates the scene, but also teases a detail that could be revealed later. In the end, we have 4 spoilers pointing to 3 possible arcs for Season 25. The first arc involves the lab and human transformations, with Kathy, camera woman, playing an important role. If she witnesses the transformations, she might recall her own past, which we'll see unfold with her. Previous spoilers support this theory. The other 2 arcs were already covered in more detail in my previous videos, so if you haven't seen them yet, I highly recommend checking them out.